we're almost there for Kingdom Hearts 3. But before we go into the future, I think we should take a step back. Well, I don't think so, but Nomura did. Into the far-flung past, and we're going to go through 2 games today. Well, one of them is actually a movie, and that's the one we're going to be doing first. So, we've talked a lot about the Keyblade War, and it happened, and it's the cause for all of the world splitting up, but maybe it's a good idea to actually go back and look at what that's all about.
Yeah, sounds reasonable. On the other hand, this is let me see, the 6th game before we come to number 3, and this has 8 in the title.
So, let me clarify that real quick. Aside from the numbering of Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, 3, and everything aside from that making no goddamn sense, at least between Kingdom Hearts 3 and 4, there seems to be way less games than this. But this is kind of a self-aware situation regarding that, because this is the logo for Kingdom Hearts 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, which is the prologue to the final chapter, Kingdom Hearts 3. So it's not quite Kingdom Hearts 3, so it's Kingdom Hearts 2.8. And that is...
They just did the Roman numerals for the 2 to be...
Because that's what they do with Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3. They have Roman numerals, and the HD collection for Kingdom Hearts 1, which also had Chain of Memories on it, and the cutscenes for Days, was called Kingdom Hearts 1.5 HD Remix. And then we had Kingdom Hearts 2.5 HD Remix, which was Kingdom Hearts 2, Birth by Sleep, and the cutscenes for Kodat. And then they made this, which is the HD remake of the game we did last time, Dream Drop Distance, as well as this movie about the start of the Keyblade War, and then a Kingdom Hearts 3 tech demo, which is about Aqua's time in the Realm of Darkness. So they couldn't call that 2.5 because there was already a 2.5, and 2.8 is roughly between 2.5 and 3. I think
calling it 2.75 would be too long.
That would be a little fucked.
Yeah.
And there's one more reason why it's 2.8, but we'll get to that next time.
Is it because the 8 is an infinity symbol?
No, but you think Nomura's that clever? No. That would be fun. So that's what we're doing today, is we're doing those 2 pieces, because the movie is about an hour long, and the cutscenes for Aqua's story, which there is some story there, but it's mostly just like a tech demo to feel what the game feels like in the new engine, because finally we're on an actual goddamn console since the PS2. We skipped an entire generation. This is on the PS4.
Oh shit.
We spent the entire generation on handhelds, just handhelds.
I mean, nowadays that's not so bad with the Switch and all that, but
yeah,
then, yeah.
No, we had DS games, we had that PSP game, then a 3DS game which looked halfway decent. The entire PS3 generation, it got the HD remakes of the games. Like Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, those games I just talked about, those were released on PS3 first. But this is the first actual PlayStation exclusive, I think it's also on Xbox, but whatever, Kingdom Hearts content since Kingdom Hearts 2, and it just is like a generation and a half later as far as consoles go. So be prepared for this game to look insanely better than anything we have seen before.
So everyone who just had consoles is just absolutely scratching their head. What the fuck just happened?
Oh, what we're about to go into the movie, nobody, aside from people who played the mobile game, because it ties into the mobile game. We'll get to it, not today. That's a whole story for another day.
Of course it does.
Nobody really knew about these characters and about this story, and that's the reason it's on this disc, because this isn't so much about leading up to Kingdom Hearts 3 as the end of Phase 1. This is the start of Phase 2. But Kingdom Hearts 3 does incorporate some things in that, because of course they want people who have played Kingdom Hearts and are playing 3 to be hooked in to whatever comes next. So they couldn't rely on just people playing the mobile game, obviously, because it sucks. So they make this movie which kind of hits on the most important beats of the mobile game from a different perspective.
Alright.
So let's get into that, shall we?
Yeah.
We're starting things off with the case of Lushu. We see 2 Roby McRobe faces, and again, welcome to the Unreal Engine. Actually, like, we have lighting in this scene. What the fuck is this?
There's ambient occlusion and shit.
There's ambient. There's lighting. There's actual. Well, you can't see it in this screenshot because my internet was bad when I took it. But there's like actual texture to the black robes now, rather than them just being black. That they are very clearly like leather. Anyway,
even though this screenshot isn't that good, yeah, I can definitely still see that.
Yeah, there's like the reflection of it, and it looks so much better. And compared to Kingdom Hearts 3, this still doesn't look great. Kingdom Hearts 3 is a fucking gorgeous game. The 2 Roby McRobe faces. One of them is reading a book. He tells the other, and you make number 7, saying you 6 plus me, that's 7 in total. And the other guy's like, okay, sure, I guess. The first guy, the one in the front here, is like, oh wait, no, don't tell me I don't count. That will be a total bummer. The first guy summons his Keyblade, handing it to the other, saying, here, this is yours now.
That's a familiar Keyblade.
I did point this Keyblade out before, did I not?
Jeez.
I told you it would be important, did I not?
Uh-huh.
We are like, just for context, I don't think I have it in my notes here. We are at least thousands, potentially millions of years in the past here.
Ew.
And we did learn that Master Xehanort's Keyblade, which is what this is, in the secret ending of one of the games at some point, we did learn that his Keyblade was the most ancient Keyblade in existence. So, yes, this is the same one.
Cool.
So, this Keyblade is being handed from the Master to the apprentice in this scene, which is what the narration tells us. The Master, in his own playful and mischievous ways, I love this character, by the way, was given his apprentice Lushu a very important role. It explains that a long time ago, all the worlds were connected as one big world. We've heard about this about 1 billion different times.
Yeah.
A time only known as the Age of Fairy Tales. In this time, there was a place called Daybreak Town, where lived the Master of Masters. He had a gazing eye that could look into the future. With this gazing eye, he wrote, another thing that we've heard about before, a book of prophecies, which he gave to his 5 apprentices. He has 6 in total, but he gave it to 5 of them, who would now be known as the Foretellers. We fade back into the next scene of the Master of Masters overlooking Daybreak Town, as Ira, one of his apprentices, comes up asking something of him, saying, hey, I read your book, real cool, good stuff, about that last page though. And the Master says, oh yeah, good, you read it? Kind of a bummer, isn't it? Because it says something bad, and I'm not going to tell you what yet, because my notes don't say it yet, but I think we'll get to it. But before they can get to being too down and about what the book says in the end, which apparently is a very bad thing, the Master's like, you know, hypothetically, right? In theory, if I were to, I don't know, disappear or something, I'm counting on you, Ira, Mr. Unicorn Head, to take the lead and take care of all the other apprentices.
I'm definitely not going to disappear though, but you know, just in case, in theory, hypothetical.
He literally says that. I probably won't disappear, but you know, if I do, you're the leader now.
10 seconds later.
Oh, literally, yes.
Yeah.
The Master explains that the world is filled with light. All the worlds are connected as one. They share one light, Kingdom Hearts. And people might believe that it will always be around to protect them from the darkness. Ira says, oh, I get you. That's why you gave us Keyblades, right? They can be weapons to fight the darkness, to avoid the last passage of the book. The Master says, no, that's not at all. What the book says is going to happen, no matter what.
It's a book of prophecies. It's there ain't no avoiding that shit.
There's no clever like time loops. It's a book of prophecies. Future is predetermined. That's gonna happen. And just as the book says, in the end, darkness will prevail and light will be expired. And
we're all gonna die.
Nothing we can do about that. So fuck you.
Looking forward to all dying. Yay.
Oh yeah. I'm not going to comment on that, but so do I.
already.
Ira is quite dismayed to hear this and asks, well, then what do you want us to do with the Keyblades? Because if darkness is going to prevail anyway, why bother? Which is a good point.
Swing around, have some fun.
I mean, if you're all going to die anyway, you might as well have fun.
Yeah.
Right? Well, the master says you can't change the future, so we'll have to focus on what comes after the end. Ira, just like the viewer at this point, is very confused, thinking of all the people who will perish in the destruction of the world.
This is some Loki type shit with like the after the end of time and stuff.
I can get into some parallels and theories about that in a moment. The Master of Masters is not very dissimilar, which is a double negative. He's quite similar in some ways to He Who Remains. In that he knows everything that's going to happen, and that just kind of seems to have broken his mind.
Yeah, I see how that would happen. Yeah.
So the Master laughs as he walks away, leaving Ira standing alone on this little beautiful hill, saying, come on, you don't genuinely believe that the whole world could just be saved by only 7 people, which is exactly what we're going to do in Kingdom Hearts 3, so fuck him. But of course, likely he knows about that because he can see the future. So, but we're getting into some real paradox shit. Then, next up, Envy, another apprentice. We're going to go over all the apprentices now, by the way, so do pay attention for like at least a minute before you glaze over again.
I'm gonna try.
This is Envy, another apprentice. She was given the role to watch over the others with a fair and unbiased eye. Assad was given the role of supporting the new leader, so he's kind of like the vice president of their little group after the master disappears.
And the muscle as
he's also the
appears.
Big dumb brute. Yeah, he is that. Which kind of comes into play as far as like their personalities go. I'll just tell you this now because it's never explicitly stated, but I feel like the game expects you to put 2 and 2 together on this quite quickly. Most of these people are given roles by the master that do not help their personalities at all. Does this look like a person who wants to be second in command?
Not really.
Exactly.
Just to fuck around with them, or
who knows?
Well, I guess he would know, but
I know. I know.
Well, yeah.
We'll get to it. Next up, we have Ava, my favorite and probably most people's favorites, maybe except for Lucio, who was given the role to prepare talented Keyblade wielders that she finds for the world after the war. So even though there's going to be a Keyblade war and light will expire, darkness prevail, we do know that the world then eventually gets rebuilt as all these separate small worlds that we know from, well, every game that we've played so far.
Uh-huh.
It's her mission to collect talented Keyblade wielders so that that world can eventually be rebuilt. That all those smaller worlds can continue to exist post everything breaking apart.
So she's just the talent scout.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. Are we just assembling the Greek/Nordic gods?
Funny that you would say Nordic, because specifically there is a different game where almost everybody is named after a Nordic god. So no, but you could definitely draw some parallels here to maybe Greek mythology, but they would be aesthetic at best, I think.
Well, it's every multiple god religion just has like every god for this and a god for that, and that's basically what we're doing.
Close enough. Yeah, close enough. Next up, we have Gula, which is the last one that is new for us to be introduced to. He was given the role to study and uncover the mysteries of the Book of Prophecy. So, even though the Master wrote it, he doesn't seem to fully understand everything, or at least that's what he's letting on. So he gives one to each of his apprentices we've seen so far, except, again, Lucio, who doesn't get one. That is important. And Gula specifically is told, hey, this book is a little weird at times. You try to figure it out, you're smart.
I put down some scribbles. You figure it out.
Pretty much, yeah. Lastly, we have Luciu, who doesn't have a book of prophecies, but he is told to watch afar while the other apprentices do their thing.
So he just gets his suitcase and is like, bitches, I'm out of here.
He's like, okay, my rules are going on vacation, I'm fucking gone.
I'm out.
So after they all get our rules, who would have guessed, but the master vanishes without a trace.
Who would have guessed it?
Couldn't have seen that coming at all. Right?
Absolutely not.
This is where the mobile game starts. Which again, we're not going to be talking about right now, but we will in the future, because it's actually the best written story in the series, which is infuriating.
It's the worst game and the best written story. That's fucked.
Yeah, I really hope that they will make an HD remake of that game at some point, and with how things have gone, with like everything getting remade. In the mobile game, you play through all of this, what just happened, from the perspective of just a random ass Keyblade wielder that's living in this Daybreak town. So these 5 characters that we're seeing here, these are the masters, and you see them every now and then in a mobile game, but for the most part they're like pretty far away doing important stuff, and they all have their own union, kind of just like their own little group of Keyblade wielders that work under them, and you get to choose, kind of like a Hogwarts house, right? So at the start of the mobile game, you get to choose which one you want to be in, and then depending on which one it is, in certain cutscenes, you will see the corresponding one of the foretellers here.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, specifically because there is some complexity there that I'm not going to get into right now. If I remember when we get to a specific character to talk about it, I will talk about it. But there's some complexity there, because in certain cases, that also makes other NPC characters part of different unions, because they are by definition in a different union than the player is. So anyway, we fade in to the next scene, which I think is this scene, where all the masters are meeting in a room together. Ira steps forward, declaring there is a traitor among them.
Because of course there is.
We need drama.
We need a Judas situation.
Kind of, maybe. A little, yeah. He shows
Just
it
to draw some more parallels to religion.
for all the parallels with different religions you can take. I think this game is actually quite light on Christianity compared to like Final Fantasy, which really likes to draw parallels to Christianity. Like pretty much every Final Fantasy game just ends with you killing God.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it really is. Like, specifically Final Fantasy X, and that's one of the reasons that I really want to cover it. Final Fantasy X is a game that is specifically, the entire story is about the corruption of the church. Their church, not specifically the Christian church, but let's be honest, it is. I really like Final Fantasy X for that, and a whole list of other reasons. Anyway, Ira says, there's a traitor among us, and he shows a charity, and that's this little plushie on the right. And here we take a step back again, because if you played the mobile game, you would know what a charity is. If you're a normal fucking person, you have no idea what this is. This just looks like a stuffed animal.
Yeah.
These are little...
And way too cute to be a traitor.
Well, that's the thing. These are little spirits that are created for each and every Keyblade wielder in Daybreak Town. But Ira has found one that has been corrupted by the darkness. So it's not cute, it's purple. And that signals that...
Purple can't be cute?
Apparently. Like, purple's always the color of corruption in literally anything.
Oh, yeah.
Don't ask me why, just the color theory. But the fact that there's a charity that is seemingly been corrupted by the darkness is a signal that a Keyblade wielder has been corrupted by the darkness, because these things are like hard linked to the wielder that they've been assigned to. Ira explains that it's likely one of their charities is the one that became the Dark Charity. That's because Dark Charity has been going around giving Keyblade wielders this weird accessory called a power bangle. An item that makes them stronger, but also seems to gather the darkness that they're fighting. Something not any random wielder could have just made, so it has to be one of the masters. Hence, one of them is a traitor.
So it's basically, it's steroids with the side effect of darkness?
Yeah, kinda. I think in the game itself, it's even more fucked because it increases your strength by 5%, but it also increases the enemy strength by 5%, so it literally doesn't do anything except, like, gather the darkness for plot reasons. So that doesn't really do anything. So, after explaining all this, Assad is like, Ira, you are a fucking idiot. You're the leader. This whole speech of you just planted doubt into everyone around this table. What did you expect? If there's a traitor among us, just to say, oh, yeah, no, you got me. It's me. I was going to betray you guys, but you caught me. Of course that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen, of course. So everyone leaves, and Ira tells Envy that there's a missing page in the Book of Prophecies, which worries him a lot. Because he thinks that that missing page must have the identity of the traitor. It's nowhere else in the book. There's one missing page. Kind of makes sense that they are related, right?
That it's missing in all of their books?
Yes. At first, Ira just noticed it in his own book, but then Envy, I believe, just pulls out hers and just goes through and is like, oh yeah, I also miss a page. I hadn't noticed that before, apparently. So the working theory there would be that the traitor went through all their books and ripped out the page that tells of the identity of the traitor.
Would make sense.
I mean, if you're going to betray your friends who have a literal book about the future, probably would be the first thing you do.
No.
The case of Envy. We see Envy talking to the master, and the master tells her, so all you gotta do is just watch. Just observe the others, don't judge, just be a watchful eye. It's easy as that. Easy breezy.
Just be a creep.
Yeah, but he notes, observing doesn't mean shutting up. You will also be the mediator, helping this whole group getting along, and we'll all be friends. Because Envy is such a good mediator. Envy says, well, I'll try, but the idea of you and Luciu just fucking vanishing and leaving us here, and us all having to form our own unions, and all this whole thing that you're explaining to me, it's a little unnerving. The master comes, oh, come on, lighten up, will you? Maybe you'll never disappear. Maybe I won't ever disappear.
Nah.
Which is followed up by a silence, and then the master's like, wait, you don't want me to go, do you? He's a goofy guy. I noted before, by the way, sometime during Birth by Sleep, where you might have actually been asleep at that time.
Could be, yeah.
That there's a character who is a quite Deadpool-like in this series.
Yeah.
This is him.
Yeah, that would make sense for someone who knows, like, everything.
He pretty much has, like, the fourth wall breaking powers because he knows, like, he has Nomura's fucking script. Because that's what the Book of Prophecies is.
Right. So is he also aware that he is in a work of fiction as even in a video game?
That's a difficult question to answer for a variety of reasons.
Already.
Explicitly no. I'm going to leave out the whole world of fiction thing because that is actually like a different thing that does come into play, but in a different way from what you expect right now. I personally, and this is just me theorizing, I personally believe that the Master of Masters is aware that he's in a video game. I think.
Oh, but that's not anywhere actually confirmed.
That's never explicitly stated, but with the direction that Phase 2 seems to be going as far as like themes go, it does seem to be very much about what is reality and what makes something real.
Is this just fantasy?
Yeah. And Kingdom Hearts 3 starts kind of going in that direction in some of its worlds. So I do believe that we're building towards a moment where the Master of Masters just tells Sora like, why are you taking this all so seriously? You're just a video game character, and Sora's going to fucking lose his mind.
That would be awesome.
Something like that I think is going to happen, but that's just me theorizing about what might happen in Kingdom Hearts 20 in like 100 years from now.
That would be awesome. And then at some point, Sora just turning towards you as the player, being like, this has been the 20th time you've played this level. Get the fuck on with it.
Well, you say that.
Oh no.
He doesn't explicitly break the fourth wall, but there is a moment in Kingdom Hearts 3 where, and this is kind of a spoiler for the end of the game, but not for like plot reasons, but more for like a... Okay, there is a cutscene at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3 where Sora gets absolutely obliterated by Xehanort.
Mm-hmm.
And in that cutscene, it moves to the game over screen, which you would get if you lose a battle. But it happens mid-cutscene, so obviously you didn't die because you're in the middle of a cutscene. And then you hear Donald and Goofy yelling out for Sora through your controller. Before Sora wakes back up and picks the fight back up and you finish off Xehanort. So it's not quite Sora looking at the screen and saying, hey, get good, but you can tell like there is some fourth wall shenanigans going on at some level here. And I do believe that going forward, it's only going to get more and more.
All right.
We'll get into that when we get to that, though, which will be a while, because those games largely haven't even been released yet. So the master goes like, you want me to go? And quickly Envy says, no, I don't want that. That's literally what I'm saying. The idea of you leaving is unnerving. I don't want that. And the master just laughs it off, saying, I was joking with you. I'm not going to disappear. It's just precautions, dude. Just to be sure. He tells her that change can be hard, but if it happens, you do need to move forward. And now that she knows what the future holds, she has to listen to her heart. May her heart be her guiding key, which is definitely not just may the force be with you for Kingdom Hearts.
I mean, I was thinking that the parallels to religion just keep coming. This is basically Jesus before he's crucified, being to all of his disciples like, you're gonna get this job and you're gonna get that job, and I'm gonna die now. Bye. Yeah. Now,
in that regard, yeah, maybe there is some Christian influences here as well.
Yeah, quite a bit.
I don't know that those are necessarily on purpose. There is some, again, in a later game, there's characters which are literally named after Norse gods. That is very much on purpose. I feel like this might be a more like just generally a leader knowing that they're about to die, delegating rules and stuff. More so than...
Emulating the Bible is just a thing you do as a writer, it seems. It's just
it's kind of a chicken or the egg.
Basic storytelling.
Exactly. It's like at the risk of like offending all the religious people watching this, but it's kind of a chicken or the egg situation, right? Because do you emulate the Bible because you're emulating the Bible, or are you just using the same tropes because that's what makes a good story, and that's probably why the Bible was written that way?
Yeah. Well, good story, I don't know. But yeah, it's just if you're writing something at some point, you're gonna copy the Bible because first of all, the Bible has a lot of goddamn stories. And secondly, it's just the basics of storytelling.
Yeah, but at that same logic, at some point you're also going to copy something from Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, definitely. Which copied a lot from the Bible.
Yeah. It's just by virtue of being one of the first, like, it's probably the first book ever written that's still, like, relevant today, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
So, by virtue of being the first, does that... There is a deeper, like, creative discussion here, which we don't have time for.
All right.
A few days...
yeah. Lord of the Rings also does it, but it's written better.
Well, Tolkien was religious, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So I feel like the parallels there are very much like on purpose and not just because it's good storytelling. But that's what I'm trying to get at is like it's specifically this is just like a leader delegating tasks. I wouldn't necessarily say that's a Bible parallel as much as like, of course, that's what happens in stories because that's how that works.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyway, a few days later, Assad, Ava, and Gula, which I now only note that every time I mention Gula in my script, I spell his name differently. I have no idea what it's spelled like for real. They're all hanging out in this random-ass warehouse somewhere in daybreak time. And Assad is ranting about how wrong Ira is about everything and he makes such a terrible leader, and which, to be fair, he is right. Like Ira just coming forward to the entire group and saying one of us is a traitor is a fucking boneheaded move.
Yeah.
But this comes back with Ira's not a good leader, and Assad is not a good second in command, because instantly after something goes wrong, Ira's bad at taking a good leading position, and Assad is definitely already thinking I should overthrow that dude. I should be the leader. He asks the other two here, do they believe there is a traitor? And Gula says, I kind of doubt it. Ira's argument was kind of paper thin. So, there's a corrupted charity. Whatever. Does that mean there's a traitor? Probably not. Ava, however, thinks Ira might know something else that is making him jump to this conclusion. But that part, he isn't telling them. Assad doesn't like this idea. So, at first he was mad that Ira told everybody a secret, and now he's mad that Ira is not telling everybody a secret. So, long story short, all these people just suck.
They are hypocrites.
Yep. Assad even calls for an alliance between the three of them to find the traitor, if there even is one at all. Even though they were very clearly instructed by the Master to keep their 5 unions as separate unions. They're not allowed to join up and have alliances and team up and all that kind of stuff. Gula says, I guess I can join, that sounds fun. But Ava would rather follow the orders that she was given from a guy who can literally see the future.
Yeah, that would make sense. Also, that's the easiest way to find a traitor. Just ask someone, do you think there's a traitor? Nah. And then, do you think we should, overstep the rules? Yeah. Alright, there's a traitor. Bye.
Yeah. So, what you're saying is you think Gula is a traitor?
Yes.
Okay. If there's anything about traitors, I'm not going to say whether you're right or wrong, but I just want to put this in your head. If there's anything about, traitors in narratives, it's always the second least likely person.
That is true, yeah.
But let's keep this going. Let's see. For now, Gula is your suspect. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
Ava wants to follow the rules because the Master can literally see the future. So far, we've got a bunch of idiots and one person who actually has a brain. Again, there's a reason Ava is my favorite out of these 5, because she's the only one with... For once, it's the female who is the only one with a personality.
Yay.
And a brain.
Progress.
Kind of, yeah. As they talk, Envy also walks in. Assad offers her to form an alliance too, but she doesn't like it either, telling Assad that joining their powers will upset the balance of the 5 unions, which will lead to darkness, unless Assad has already been tainted by the darkness. Assad retorts that Envy spies on them and reports everything back to Ira. So that seems like a pretty shitty thing to do too. So maybe she is tainted by the darkness.
That's what's literally her task, but
not quite. Her task was to be unbiased and fair, not to just snitch them to the leader.
Yeah, fair enough.
But that is what she responds with, is, bitch, that is my role. Shut the fuck up. Assad isn't having any of this though, and he doesn't trust Envy at all, which begs the question why she was invited to this meeting. But hey, what do I know? Over at the fountain, in the middle of they're screaming at each other, apparently.
Rawr.
Yeah, the fact that they all have these animal masks make them look even more goofy. We've kind of been ignoring that so far. But I think we need to take a moment and just accept that this is the most fucking Kingdom Hearts weird ass shit that I'm kind of glad at this point you don't even question it.
Yeah, not really.
They're just these people just have animal masks. There's no reason. They just do.
Well, I am glad they waited for this high fidelity to do this, because doing this at a PS2 level of graphics would look wacky as all fuck.
Yeah, you definitely need the higher quality texturing options and just generally their robes look really good as well. In some of these more close-up shots, like this one, you can definitely see Envy, just the fabric here looks really good, which kind of offsets the fact that they're all wearing fucking furry masks.
Yeah.
Either way, sometime later, again, fucking gorgeous game.
Absolutely.
In the middle of Daybreak Town, there's this fountain, which is a reoccurring location that you go through in the mobile game. Ava is sitting at this fountain, thinking about what just happened, and maybe she should have joined the Alliance, but maybe not, and she's just not entirely sure about what she should have done. When she's joined by a character with normal fucking hair.
What? Also, can you go back one thing? They have such a goddamn hard-on for zippers that the house in the background has a zipper.
Never noticed that. You weren't. That's.
Come on.
You're not wrong. I don't know what that's supposed to be.
Yeah. I mean, even with the window down there.
That looks like a zipper, just straight up.
Yeah.
Oh, that has to have been on purpose.
Anyway,
a normal fucking hair dude shows up.
hey.
This is Ephema, which he joins Ava sitting down right next to her, noting that she doesn't seem particularly happy today. She doesn't seem like herself. Ava asks Ephema if he remembers the question that he asked her before, about why the unions don't just join up and all work together to fight the darkness. And she admits that lately she's been wondering the same. He asks, wasn't it just because your master told you to? To which she responds, yeah, and we must obey that order, but recently she doesn't seem so sure of all that anymore. Ephema just laughs and says, you really aren't yourself today. I guess even masters have sometimes got off days. Hey, maybe you want to talk about the Book of Prophecies to cheer you up, hey, maybe? No? Okay, maybe not. And then Ephema goes on to say that he made a new friend today, noting that he wasn't much of a talker, because the friend he made is the player character, and as the player character, you don't talk in the mobile game. And this is where I want to circle back to that whole union thing, because usually Ephema is in Ava's union, because he's got like this whole relationship with her as being like, I'm like your top talent and you're my master. But what's more important is in the mobile game, when you meet Ephema, he will always be in a different union than you, because he like symbolizes the fact that you can be friends with people in other unions. Again, very much like a Harry Potter type of sentiment there. So if you're in Ava's union, he ends up in like Era's union, I believe, something like that. I don't know. It's just important that he will always be your friend from another union.
Well, that's kind of interesting that has some lore implications, depending on an arbitrary, well, not kind of arbitrary choice.
I mean, it is a quite arbitrary choice. In the game itself, which is not online anymore, it's not even playable anymore. Like the unions had every month, the union with the most points, it was like a score system. The members got like, I think, a little reward in-game or something like that.
Wow.
Which begs the question, if there's a union, like, most people would have just probably gone with the unicorn dude, right?
Yeah.
So wouldn't that union just have more people and as such more points?
Which then makes a feedback loop, because then more people join that.
Yeah, so new people who join the game are like, okay, I've heard that this is the thing to join because here's where you win.
Yeah.
Again, it's a bad game. I'm very glad that it's no longer online. The cutscenes still are watchable though, but we'll get to that. It's horrible. The cutscenes in the mobile app is still downloadable, but it only has the cutscenes in it and not the game itself. But they're not like ordered chronologically; they're ordered by world.
Huh.
And in this game, you go from world to world, like you bounce back and forth a lot. So if you just want to watch the story of the mobile game chronologically, like you would experience it in the game, that's no longer possible. That's
better to probably just take a compilation online.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I will be doing. What I have been doing so far as well. After a little bit of a talk, and Ephema's like, okay, you don't seem like you really want company today. I'm just going to go home, think about my new friend, and we're meeting up tomorrow again to have an adventure. He leaves, and Ava notes that with kids like Ephema, she has faith that the world will be fine after the war. And she picks up a flower and saying to the wind to carry them far, far away. Her dandelions. Which is real weird without context.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to give you that context right now. We'll in a minute.
Of course not.
In a minute. It won't be long.
All right.
Back at the tower, Envy comes to report to Ira, telling him that the potential alliances are being formed and that she's going to be a little bit less frequent with updates because the others are getting a little suspicious. And by a little suspicious, she means she's literally been called out for spying on them.
Which is fair. Entirely
fair. And just like that, a few months go by. Assad and Gula are hanging out in this warehouse again with just a lot of bloom on Gula's. What the fuck is this bloom?
Someone is having some game designer is having quite a hard-on for Unreal Engine lighting.
Yeah,
which is fair.
Which is fair. Definitely, it's fair. It looks good. It looks great. But there's one thing that I, specifically in the PS4 generation, and specifically with Unreal Engine, developers had a real hard-on for just making everything glow. Because up until that point, that was a pretty expensive visual technique to do in real-time rendering. PS4 and that version of Unreal Engine did that pretty well. And every developer suddenly started doing it. And I hated it. And this is a real, this scene has no reason to be as glowy as it is.
It just burns the eyes, which is fun.
Yeah. That said, the compression on this image does make it worse. It's not that bad in real time, but still, it shouldn't be there. Not to this degree.
A different question.
Yeah.
Especially in the last screenshot. Do these guys at one or another point take off these masks?
When they go to bed, probably, but not on screen.
All right, because that mask looks kind of welded onto his... Well, not welded on, but ain't no way you're getting that off.
Maybe they sleep with him? I don't... We never see them taking them off. I assume they can, because it's...
Maybe it's a two-parter, like the horse head and then the blue on his cheeks are two separate things, but then still the part on his cheeks and his chin, how the hell are you gonna get that off? And how the hell are you even moving your chin?
Well, but not is the answer to that. It is implied that they were given, not explicitly stated, but heavily implied that they were given these masks by the master when they were being given their rules. So before the master was like, I'm gonna disappear, they were all just probably hanging about in these robes, and then they were given these masks probably to fit with their personalities and all their rules, which, as I mentioned, are opposite to each other.
Yeah.
But that's just implied. I don't take that necessarily as fact, but I think that might be the case.
Anyway, let's not be logical about this.
Yeah, that seems like a bad idea. So Assad and Gula are hanging out in a very glowy warehouse again, and Gula is like, it's been a few months, dude. This alliance hasn't really done anything, and it's not gone us anywhere, and we're breaking rules, and we probably shouldn't be doing any of this. So maybe we should break it off. Maybe it's not you, it's me, but we should break up. And he accidentally kind of lets it slip that Envy talks him into breaking off the alliance. Assad is not pleased by this revelation, because he was already not trustworthy, or Envy was already not trustworthy in his eyes, and now she is the reason that this whole alliance, which seemed like a bad idea to begin with, has been broken off.
She broke my idea, can't he?
Yeah. The case of Assad. Assad is looking around the master's office as he walks in, and the master's like, you've been waiting along? That's my bad. He sits down and asks, so what do you want? Assad responds, but you are the one who summoned me here to talk. What do you mean, what do I want? And the master responds, just fucking absolutely cracking up. I'm just kidding. And the master tells Assad that his role is going to be Ira's right-hand man. Support the leader in any way you can. Assad asks, what do you mean right-hand man? Why is Ira going to be the new leader? Which you might be thinking, wow, Assad, that's really overstepping yourself assuming that you would be the new leader. And that's exactly what the master says as well. Wait, do I hear some disappointment in there? Don't tell me you wanted to be the leader, didn't you? Oh, Assad, my boy. Okay, fine. I'll tell you what. If Ira turns out to be a shitty leader, just overthrow him. That'll be part of your role. You support him, but if he fucks up, you just take the lead. Okay? Good?
How about creating a toxic environment? Step 1.
I mean, it's pretty clear at this point, I think. It wouldn't be a spoiler to say that the Master is 100% setting these people up against each other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's a controversial take at this point to make.
I mean, I'm with the limited information I'm getting, that's exactly my conclusion.
That is a correct conclusion. And there is a reason. And that is not a reason that I'm going to tell you. But there is a reason.
No, of course not. Is the reason just so the prophecy gets done?
Well, there we get into some paradox shit with prophecies, right? It's... You haven't read this book, most likely. For any... Like, the two people out here listening to this, which have also read The Name of the Wind, there is a character in there who can also see the future. And in that story, that character is confined to living inside of a tree and kept there by like special guards, because if somebody can see the future clearly, they know exactly to the word what they should say to you to cause the effect that they want down the line. And that's kind of...
Yeah, he can look at like 14,600,000 and whatever futures and make sure that the one in which we win gets done. Yeah,
he can Doctor Strange this shit.
Yeah.
But instead of having to sit down and do all that weird stuff with like the time stone, he can just kind of do that in real time, seemingly.
Pretty cool.
But Assad is like, okay, fine, but why do we need a new leader? And the Master just looks back, saying, well, one day I might disappear. Assad doesn't respond to this. So the Master just sighs, says, well, one day I might and Assad is like, disappear? What do you mean? It's been over a year since that moment and the Master left. And at this point, Assad's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna do this shit. Whips out his Keyblade and is going to take the leader position seemingly by force. Which, let me know how that works out for you. But before he can even get to Ira, he has to fight Envy, who he runs into. And she like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you attacking me? Why are you going after Ira? Calm down, let's talk about this. But Assad's not really the person to talk about things, as you might imagine at this point, because he is the literal incarnation of masculinity. Assad explains that with the Master gone, he will do anything to protect the light from expiring. He just needs to protect the world from darkness. At that point, Ava and Gula walk in on the fight. 2. Envy proclaims that Assad must be the traitor, prompting Gula and Aqua, that's a different game, Ava, to also...
she's also blue, but whatever.
Well, this year's Ava. Ava's the pink one.
Well, blue or pink, who cares?
They're almost literally opposites, but hey. So they both summon the Keyblades anyway, and Assad, resolve made up, lunges forward to attack them, saying, may my heart be my guiding key, as he's ready to take all 3 of them on at once. Sometime later, after the fight, we can see they did a little bit of damage to the Egg Town. Just a little bit.
Assholes.
Anyway. People probably lived in those houses.
Yeah. I need to get to work. I needed that bridge. God damn it.
Well, the Keyblade wielders, they can portal about.
Yeah, but the normal people over there, they can't.
Good question.
The baker needed to get to his bakery, goddammit.
Good question. There's like a fuck ton of Keyblade wielders, because like every player of the mobile game is a Keyblade wielder living in this town. I don't know if there's any non-Keyblade wielders living here, to be honest. So
they're just Keyblade wielders who are also like, I don't know, garbage collectors and bankers and...
Maybe. I don't know. There's a couple of shopkeepers, actually. But those are Muggles from Final Fantasy, so that doesn't really register. There's probably like a baker or 2 living there, which can't portal about. So yeah, he's kind of fucked.
Who needed that bridge?
There's probably another way to work. It's fine.
Yeah, but now I gotta drive 15 minutes around, and god damn it.
I mean, they're the government. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, fair enough.
Speaking of the government, Gula is hiding in an alley with...
As you do.
exactly. With the missing page of the Book of Prophecies. He's got it. He's got the one. He's got the page that nobody else has. And let's give that a little bit of context. So, the case of Gula. Gula is standing behind the master who is reading through the Book of Prophecies, seemingly not noticing that his apprentice is right behind him. Gula says, if you're busy, I can just come back later. That's fine. I don't mean to intrude.
That's quite an accomplishment to sneak up on someone who knows the future.
You make a good point. Anyway, the master was like, oh, you're here. I didn't see you. Which, we'll get back to the not being able to see thing. He flips through his book and rips out a page, handing it to Gula, explaining that this missing page has some real important shit on it, and it's about a traitor among them. And Gula's role will be figuring out what this page actually means, because it doesn't just say the traitor is this person. It just has clues as to who the traitor might be on it. And that's what Gula's task is, figuring out what those clues mean.
The traitor has a dumbass mask on his face. Well, that doesn't tell us anything.
Exactly. The master goes on to explain, but before he can even get his words out, Gula already is one step ahead of him, which is quite impressive for a guy who can see the future. Saying that
Absolutely.
That's why they were given all different roles, because if any of them deviate from that role, that will show who the traitor is. And the master, even though we can't see his eyes, very clearly is rolling his eyes. Like, you have to just steal my thunder, don't you? But yeah, you're right. That's the plan.
Can I have a wild guess in here?
Sure.
Is the conclusion just going to be that there is no traitor?
No, there is a traitor.
Oh, okay. Well, that would be kind of a fun plot twist. Just be like, it was all a test. There was no traitor.
I will tell you that by the end of this movie, a lot of people came to that conclusion that there was no traitor. But there is a traitor, and based on the information you have at the end of this movie, you could figure it out, but you probably won't.
Alrighty.
Back to modern day. Modern day. We're still millions of years in the past. Assad is in his apparently favorite warehouse because we spend way too much time here. And he's looking pretty hurt from the fight because he just fought 3 Keyblade Masters. So he's a big strong boy, but 1 against 3, he's lucky to be alive. That said though, Gula walks in and Assad's like, oh, now you're alone here with me. That's a bad idea on your part, dude. And he gets up to strike Gula down with a finishing blow. Just as Ava runs in, it's like, nah, there's 2 of us. Just please fuck off and stop hurting anybody.
That would be nice.
You are fighting us because you think one of us is a traitor. We are fighting you because we think you are the traitor. None of this makes sense, so let's stop fighting until we know who the traitor is, and then we can do some more fighting. Okay? Sounds good? Because we're all, almost dead at this point.
Yeah, sounds fair.
And Assad, for once, uses his brain and thinks, yeah, indeed, that does sound fair. And he limps out of the door, leaving the almost dead Gula and the heavily hurt Ava behind in the warehouse.
Please tell me he's yelling, until we meet again.
Well, no, he's not cartoonishly evil. He's just
butthurt.
He's just Terra is what he is. He's just kind of dumb and a little too strong. In the streets, Assad finally runs into Ira, falling to his knees, figuring that, oh my fucking god, I couldn't keep those 3 off my back, and now I'm weakened. Ira's here, he's going to fucking murder me. I'm done for. Ira, however, says that if he did that, he would lose 1 of the 5 lights, and he needs all 5 lights to help fight the darkness. Assad looks up, surprised to be even counted among the lights after all that he has done. Assad, however, tells Ira that, hey, I think I know who the traitor is, because I heard that Gula has the missing page of the book. Ira, of course, thinking the missing page also signifies the traitor, is like, okay, thank you for telling me that. You stay here. I'm going to murder a child.
Yay.
A few days later, Ava and Envy are having a fucking shouting match on a bridge, because why not? Ava accuses...
As long as they keep the bridge in one piece.
Yeah, this time they do. Assad isn't here. It's not aggressive. It's just 2 women.
Yeah.
And as much as women actually have character now in this series, they still aren't as aggressive as men, apparently.
Yeah.
Specifically as said. But there's also people like Terra, who's quite aggressive. Again, they're the same character. Like Assad and Terra, they're not literally the same, but I want to make that clear. But they are the same archetype.
I mean, we know that these game designers don't like making new assets, so reusing personalities ain't surprising.
Pretty much. But at this point, there's so many characters that you naturally just run out of archetypes. I mean, you can only have one chosen one. That's Sora. Fine. Then you have Smart Dude, which nobody actually falls in that archetype. Now that I think. Well, Gula falls in that archetype. And to a certain extent, Roxas, maybe Ventus. And then you have Woman. And that's Kyrie and Shion and Naminé and whatever. These characters aren't given very deep motivations. Naminé, is a female character, but she has motivation and reasoning. And these people just have the master told us to do things, so we shall do them. That's it. So they're discussing, or rather, kind of yelling at each other. Ava is accused Envy of telling Ira about where Gula is hidden, because Ira's trying to fucking murder that child. Envy retorts that, well, you've been fucking stealing Keyblade wielders from all our unions and training them secrets. Why should I fucking trust you? That doesn't seem like something a friend would do. Ava explains that, yeah, because that's my role, dumbass. Flashback to a few days before that again, because we flash forward a few days and then we flash back a few days because this game doesn't know how to tell a story. Ava...
It's fine.
It's
we'll just put up a splash screen and... yeah.
That's a little bit what it does. It says a few days later than this cutscene, and then this cutscene needs to explain what happens right after the last cutscene. And that has a few days earlier on it again, which is... it's fucking stupid. Ava and Gula are hiding after their big fight with Assad, while Ira is looking for Gula. Gula says that he has to collect enough light to go ahead and summon Kingdom Hearts. Ava says that, the Masters explicitly told us not to summon Kingdom Hearts, so probably don't do that. And that's why he's going to do it, because if he breaks a rule that big, the Master has to come back, right? Right?
Sure.
Because Gula feels like he can't figure out the missing page. He has the missing page, and it has some information about the traitor on it, but he can't figure it out. All it says about the traitor is the one who bears the sigil. And Gula doesn't know what that means.
Well, it does. There's one of them with a big old bear on his face.
There is. But there's also one of them with a fox and one with a unicorn, so I don't know what you're getting at.
Well, the one who bear...
Oh, bears the sigil. Oh, that's actually... That's clever. That's clever. Anyway, a few days later again, with the flash forward scene, which we just flashed back from, because that makes sense, they discuss how Gula has been gathering light with his union, and Ira and Assad have followed suit, trying to keep the balance, because we can't have one union with a lot of light, and the other ones not be equal. Again, the gameplay does not reflect this, but hey, what do you know? So they have no choice but to also start gathering light with all of the Keyblade wielders in their unions. And they know that that's going to lead to people being too aggressive about gathering light and making it too much of a competition, and that's going to eventually lead to the Keyblade War. At this point, there's no stopping that anymore. The only thing they can do is follow along and try to postpone it for as much time as possible.
I mean, this is basically what I was getting at, as in the Master of Whole Masters. Just manipulating these people to make sure that his prediction actually comes true. There doesn't need to be a traitor for them to have enough tension in the group to just fuck this up.
All I'll say about that is that you're just right. The whole traitor thing is there. There is a traitor. Let me be clear. There is a traitor, but not in the way they think. And it's specifically written about... I don't know if it's specifically written about in the book, actually. I think it is, maybe. Don't quote me on that. But it's specifically set up so that these people start accusing each other and the Keyblade War happens. That is 100% the intention.
Yeah.
Because the case of Ava. The Master tells Ava that in the last page of the Book of Prophecies, which, no matter what, is going to happen, it says that darkness will prevail and light expire. But there will be a safety net that they build for the light to rebuild the worlds afterwards. And for that, she needs to gather talented Keyblade wielders and prevent them from joining the war. Instead, they have to spread out far and wide and let themselves be carried by the wind like dandelions. And that's what Ava was referring to before. The group of Keyblade wielders that are like not designated to any union anymore after the war and have to carry the light forward after everything goes to shit. Those people are called the dandelions. And that creates the whole like Keyblade lineage, which eventually leads to, well, the Keyblade people that we know in modern day. Ava, knowing that the Keyblade War is nearing, gathers the dandelions, telling them to leave Daybreak Town and all the unions far behind, spreading out and letting them carry the light with them.
I love how they just had like, let's see, 4 character models and let's give them a few assets and hit randomize.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. There's like 4 shirts here and 4 hairstyles and whatever.
Just give them different colors and we're done.
To be fair, yeah, it looks goofy, but these are all supposed to be player characters. So, funny thing is, in the actual game, there's way more customizing options for your character aesthetically than we see here. So definitely, they're looking like this because they didn't want to design like, what is this, 20-25 characters for one shot. But I also feel like they are looking specifically generic because these are player characters.
Yeah, fair enough. Also, there's a straight up duplicate.
Is there?
On the far right.
Far right, the one with like the bluish hair and the blue blue shirt?
The blue undershirt and the white overshirt. And then in the middle...
oh like yeah, you were entirely right. That's the exact same model.
Yep.
Well, they probably did actually just straight up randomize and just not look.
Probably, yeah.
100%. That is 100%.
Also, there's another duplicate, even closer together.
Which ones are those? Oh, those are the girl, right?
No, the boy in the white undershirt, green overshirt. And then on the left, behind him, there's just the same character. I
mean, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but this girl with like the almost Korra style ponytail is also here.
Yep. Yep.
So,
and also next to that, on the left of your cursor right now, that guy.
Riku looking motherfucker, yeah.
Yeah, and then on the right, the third person, yep.
It's actually a pretty fun game.
And there are probably some more.
I don't doubt it. I think this guy over here behind this is the same as this dude. It's kind of hard to tell, but
yeah, I see what you mean.
Also, I think this dude is just in his A pose. I don't think he's animated. Anyway.
Also, behind that guy, where your cursor is now, yeah, that one, and then on the left.
This one,
yep, there.
we already mentioned that one, but sure.
Oh, right, yeah.
Let's move on to actual stories.
Yeah.
The case of Lucio. This is where we started this movie, and this is where we're going to end the movie. Lucio is holding up the Master's, well, now his Keyblade, and asking about the gazing eye. I told you this eye would become important, like half a year ago. Here we are. It's important.
Alrighty.
The Master says, well, that's not actually what it's called. And Lucio asks, well, then what is its name? And the Master shrugs, No Name, which is the name of this Keyblade now. The Keyblade is called No Name.
I hate that.
Yeah, me too. There's actually a version of it that you can get in Birth by Sleep, which is also called like No Name. So it's not even just a name the fans gave to it. That's its official name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's not the only story that does this, and I fucking hate it.
The funny thing though is that it's not actually called No Name. It's just the Master of Masters like, it doesn't have a name. And Lucius like, oh, No Name, that's cool.
That makes it even more dumb.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. You ready for more dumb shit?
Yeah.
I actually love what's about to happen here. I don't know if you will. The Master just sighs, figuring, okay, you can call it No Name. That's fine. That's not what it's about anyway. That Keyblade has an eye in it, which is quite obvious.
And creepy.
But it's just not just any eye, it's specifically the Master's eye.
Even more creepy.
Because, well, first off, Lucio reacts, understandably, gross out, and Master like, oh, you think that's gross, do ya? Because Lucio's full role is to carry that Keyblade with him and pass it down to his apprentice, who will then pass it down to his apprentice, and his apprentice, and his apprentice, throughout all of history, allowing the Master to see all of history and write the Book of Prophecies. So...
yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah, it is. The Master, though...
But at least they tried, give it an explanation.
It's also important to note that means that the Master, unlike what I told you before, because I just straight up lied to you, I'm kind of like Nomura, I just lie to you when I feel like it. The Master doesn't see a picture-perfect trajectory for the future. The Master sees only what the eye in this Keyblade is present for seeing. So he's seen all of like Xehanort's journey, and he's seen Xehanort fighting Sora, and all that. But if the Keyblade isn't present, so for instance, this Keyblade wasn't present when Riku and Sora were fighting on Destiny Islands in Kingdom Hearts 1. The Master didn't see that. He only sees what this Keyblade is present for.
Right. So if you're the wielder of this Keyblade, you need a goddamn privacy cover for that thing.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what the exact implications of that are going forward, necessarily, but it is something that is probably worth keeping in mind. Because I feel like that is the way to go to get around... Because if he can literally just see all of the future, he is impossible to beat.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's how they're going to have to get around that obstacle. But again, that's like probably the final boss of Phase 2. So that's probably like Kingdom Hearts 5 or 6.
That could also be a kind of a fun mechanic, because you got the Book of Prophecies, which is based on what this eye can see. So if the wielder of this Keyblade knows that, you can be very selective in what it does and doesn't see, and you can influence a Book of Prophecies that was written in the past, which you can do some fun stuff with that.
Yeah, definitely. That said, though, specifically for that reason, Lucio doesn't get a Book of Prophecies because the Master notes that no temporal paradoxes here. I don't need you knowing what happens while holding the Keyblade that allows me to write this book, or even worse, that I seeing what's in the book. That would not be a good thing.
Yeah.
The Master congratulates Lucio on a job well done, because, you see, I've got a Book of Prophecy here, so that means you did your task successfully. Good job. Well done. And Lucio says he hasn't done shit. He's just literally standing here. So the Master thinks for a moment and says, well, better get started on your job, Dan. But actually, no. There's one more thing that I need to give you. Because, remember he had that trunk with him in that other screenshot?
Yeah. Yes.
This black box is also a very, very important part of Lucio's role. Because as Lucio needs to use the Keyblade and the eye within it to watch over the world and see what happens, he also needs to take this box far away from all of the drama about to unfold to somewhere where it will be safe. Do you want to know what's in the box?
Yes, but you're not going to tell me.
Well, I would tell you, but I don't know.
Oh.
I have no fucking idea.
Awesome.
I don't even have, like, solid theories. That's how mysterious this box is.
Hmm.
Like, other people think they have theories. I have yet to hear a convincing theory on what's in this box. This is the central mystery going forward in the entirety of Phase 2 of Kingdom Hearts. For now.
Right, this is the mystery MacGuffin.
Yeah, there's something in this box, something that the Master desperately needs to be safe, and something that contains something that's integral to his plans, whatever that might be.
Alrighty.
Lucio, just like us, very much likes to know what's in the box. And the Master's like, I'm not going to tell you. It's a secret. And Lucio's like, but I really want to know. The Master relents, saying, okay, I'll tell you, but you can never open it. Because then the audience will know. He doesn't say that last part, but he might be thinking it. And he leans in, whispering into Lucio's ear. And Lucio's like, what? Why? The Master simply answers, you'll see. And with that, we see Lucio standing in the middle of the desert, which you'll note will eventually become the Keyblade graveyard after the war that's about to happen.
Uh-huh.
Looking up into the sky, saying, may my heart be my guiding key, and the credits roll.
Alrighty then.
That was Kingdom Hearts Key Backcover, the movie which explains from the perspective of all the masters what happens in the first about 30% of the mobile game. So, with all that, you want to have a little Kingdom Hearts 3 taste? I think we want to have a little taste of Kingdom Hearts 3. Yeah. Seems about right. This one is much shorter. So far, we're at point 113 in my notes at page 6, and in total I have 160. So this will be much faster. That's why we're combining them into one video, because this tech demo doesn't stand on its own.
Alrighty.
But before we do that, any notes, any questions about this back cover shit? Because after this, we're moving into like our quest story, and we're not talking about this too much anymore until the mobile game.
Well,
aside from what's in the box, because I can't tell you.
It has a lot of implications, and which we'll get to, I guess. But apart from that, it's the whole trader thing is what's gonna lead to the Keyblade Wars and then the Keyblade Graveyard and all that. I'm guessing this is not the place where he hides the box, right?
The box is a bit of a weird thing, because we see him here with the box before the Keyblade War, because, again, this is the Keyblade Graveyard before all those keys embed themselves in the ground. I'll tell you now that during Kingdom Hearts 3, part of the organization is looking for this box.
Obviously.
And so is Maleficent.
Of course.
Because you almost would forget that this is also a Disney game.
Oh, right.
Don't worry, we're going to get into like Mickey Mouse in a moment again. It'll be fine.
Yay.
After the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, this box does show up in this exact location again. So
he did quite a terrible job of hiding this somewhere where there ain't no drama.
The funny thing is in Kingdom Hearts 3 itself, and this is like a minor spoiler, but since we're talking about it, I might as well put it up here. Maleficent specifically, and Pete, of course, the best Disney character, are looking for this box in every world, and they start in like Olympus, and they find a box, but it turns out to be Pandora's box. They go to the Caribbean, but then they find a box, but it's the box with Davy Jones's heart in it, and that's the whole thing in that game. They're not looking for a home anymore, they're looking for a box.
What's in the box?
Maybe they want to live in the box, I don't fucking know. Maybe Maleficent's home is in the box. But before the end of the game, just before like the climax, we see a cutscene of Maleficent saying, the box doesn't exist. At least not right now. So we are to believe that the box like dematerialized or some shit between this point and Kingdom Hearts 3, and after the whole battle with Xehanort, it rematerializes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that dematerializing is a good way of hiding something, I guess.
So it might have been like sent forward in time. It might have been sent to like a different dimension, which I'm not going to get too much into, but is a possibility. There's a couple of options about why it was unfindable until the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. And it does show up in the exact spot that we last see it, I believe, and that is this place right here.
Alright. I'm gonna fucking laugh my ass off if there's just a note in the box that says, "My friends are my power."
Well, that would require the Master of Master to... Well, he has seen Sora say that, probably, yeah.
No, probably.
Are you suggesting that there might be a link between the Master and Sora? Is that what you're suggesting here?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I'm not going to tell you because I don't know. Like, genuinely, I don't know what's up with the Master. We'll get into like more opinions and theories about that at the end of 3. If by that time we don't have more information yet, because we're still waiting for more games. One last thing.
For now, let's get to
any updated theories on like the whole traitor situation? Because I can promise you there is a traitor. Who was it?
Was it just the Master?
That's another reasonable conclusion that is wrong. But that is honestly the assumption that I operated under for a couple of years. Is that the Master was the traitor, and because he put everything up against each other.
Yeah, and that would just be too obvious. I'm gonna say, and I lost his name. I'm gonna say Unicorn Dude.
That's Ira. That's also wrong. We're going to stop guessing because
it.
otherwise we're just going to guess everyone in turn and eventually get it right. We'll get back to the whole traitor thing in the mobile game.
Alrighty.
Now, Kingdom Hearts 3 tech demo time. This is my favorite title of the whole series. This is Kingdom Hearts 0.2, Birth by Sleep, a fragmentary passage.
0.2. Well, it's before 1.
It's before 1.
But it's after the thing we just did.
So it's 0.2. Originally, Birth by Sleep was Kingdom Hearts 0. Because it takes place before Kingdom Hearts 1, and this was long before like the whole mobile game stuff was thought of. And at the end of Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, if you beat like the secret ending and stuff like that, there was a trailer for a game called Kingdom Hearts 0.2. That game was never made. They reused that ID for this tech demo. Birth by Sleep was supposed to have a sequel, or at least that was the implication of that trailer.
So in that logic, we just played Kingdom Hearts -1?
Yeah. I think it's like softly retconned that Birth by Sleep itself is 0.2 because it's like in between 0, which is Union Cross, the mobile game, and Kingdom Hearts 1. But on that spectrum, it should be like Kingdom Hearts 0.999999999 repeating. Because again, this takes place 10 years before Kingdom Hearts 1, and what we just went through, we're not sure, but somewhere in the thousands to millions range.
They didn't make a lot of progression in that time.
Well, to be fair, the whole world literally exploded.
Yeah, but still,
like literally everything got nuked.
Yeah, but still, you would current humanity is about, well, let's say 50,000, about 200,000 years old. The whole thing took
all the still living societies are about 45,000 years old at this point. But we build on societies that came before. So yeah, okay, fair.
Yeah, let's say that current the current human race is about 200,000 years old, and we've got to this point. If the whole thing we just went through was actually millions of years ago, they did even though the whole thing blew up, they still made shocking little progress.
Counterpoint, we don't have magic.
True, but they do have magic, so they should make more progression.
No, because if you have magic, you don't need technology to do what magic can do.
Fair point.
That is that is the theory behind like why fantasy as a genre works most of the time. Anyway.
Yeah, fair enough.
Kingdom Hearts 3 tech demo is what we'll call this. This is about Aqua's time in the Realm of Darkness, because as we recall, at the end of Birth by Sleep, she tried to save Terra from falling into the darkness by sacrificing herself so he could live and she would be trapped in literally hell. We open up with a shot of the Keyblade graveyard. The sky is filled with hearts all going up to join with Kingdom Hearts. Nearby, on a cliff, in the distance, we see Lucio watching, as is his role, holding No Name. And in the eye, we can see like Kingdom Hearts and all the hearts going up to it, reflected.
Mm-hmm.
In the present time, skip a couple million years ahead, we see Yensid, Riku, and Mickey. And they're wondering about...
Why is Janset's character model not updated? What the hell?
Yeah, good point. Remember when I said... in 3 he looks better. A little. Remember when I said that in the more modern games, his beard still looks very much like plastic when he's stroking it?
Yeah.
This is that game. Everybody looks a little plasticky in this game. And not in a good way. But yeah, this really feels like it is the character model from 2, just with fancy lighting.
Yeah.
So they were wondering about why Yensid looks so bad, but also about how they're going to gather 7 Keyblade wielders, because that is their mission, to stop Xehanort with 7 Keyblade wielders.
Mm.
They could just bring 6 and not fall into Xehanort's plans, but hey, what do you know? This prompts Mickey to say, hey, remember in Kingdom Hearts 1, when I was in the Realm of Darkness? I've got something to tell you about that.
I met a girl there, and Minnie is like, what?
Minnie is not here, so he can tell about all his cheating adventures freely.
Right. I mean, he is a king, so it's inevitable.
Exactly. Rico ain't no snitch. Aqua...
Sora, on the other hand.
Sora's not here.
Yeah.
Aqua's walking through the Realm of Darkness. This is where we get into her story. When she walks up and sees the Castle of Dreams, one of the worlds we visited in Birth by Sleep. This is Cinderella's world.
Right.
Which has since fallen to darkness. That's why she can see it now, because when a world falls to darkness, it like shifts from the realm of light into the realm of darkness. Aqua fights some Heartless and explains that there's no real sense of time in the realm of darkness, like she's used to. For all she knows, every time she takes a step, days or maybe even years could be passing outside in the realm of light.
I mean, there is just a clock on the tower. But...
Well... I don't think I have that in my notes, but she gets closer and closer to the castle, and when she's about to enter the castle, the bridge collapses. And she actually notes that if I had gotten here a little earlier, so I could have made it over the bridge. And then she thinks, wait, earlier doesn't exist in the Realm of Darkness because there's no linear sense of time here. So what you can do is you need to go throughout like this world, which is all torn apart, do a little bit platforming, a bit of fighting, and find gears of this clock that you can then rewind to rebuild that bridge.
Huh.
So, yeah, the fact that there's a clock there actually is relevant to the fact that there's no time. Because for some reason, when there's no time, it defaults to whatever that clock is displaying. I don't know.
Oh, useful.
It's I would like that sometimes. Just turn back a clock and be able to like get a couple hours redone. Would be nice. Aqua walks through the town near the castle, and she reflects on her memories from Birth by Sleep, saying that she didn't think she had anything to lose back then. But, much like the people of this world, everything she now knows is gone. She heads on, saying she can't keep dwelling on the past. And I do want to point out, I'm going to stop doing this at some point, but this screenshot also looks fucking fantastic.
Absolutely.
But you can definitely tell, probably, that even Aqua looks a little bit like an action figure.
Yeah, I see the plasticky thing.
Everybody's a little plasticky in this game. They hadn't quite figured everything out about this engine clearly at this point. 3 itself...
Well, you don't have the subsurface scattering.
Potentially that is part of the issue. I think it's just a little too, like, reflective.
I mean, I think actual subsurface scattering in real-time rendering would be nuts, but...
Unreal does
Even
support
today.
it. I don't know if Unreal 4 supports it, but 5 definitely does.
Huh.
It's not something that you should do on every single material. I will agree, but...
Well, if you have a rigid material, there is no need to, so...
No, but it is quite a heavy operation, but it does enable you to do it in real time. I believe Unreal 4 also has it, but it probably is one of those things that, yeah, it has it, but yeah, probably should be able to turn it off as a player.
I don't think your PS4 is going to like that.
No, I don't think so. I think the issue here is more about the reflectivity. Everything is just a little too reflective.
Yeah.
As she makes her way into the castle, she sees Terra walking down the stairs, which also looks very plasticky. This is supposed to be fabric. No. just no.
That's more like spandex.
Yeah.
Also very Titanic-esque, this whole thing down the stairs.
Yeah. Actually, this is an exact mirror to a scene from Birth by Sleep where the first world Aqua visits after leaving home is this world where she runs into Terra.
Right.
Remember that whole thing we had about Terra had done like 3 worlds before Aqua had time to start her first? That's this moment.
Right.
And she says, Terra, why the fuck are you here? The reason I'm down here is because I saved you. Why are you here? Did I fail? Did I fuck up? And Terra doesn't respond. So she tries to reach out and her hand passes right through him. He's just a memory.
Sad.
As she keeps walking, she eventually ends up in the Dwarf Woodlands, Snow White's world. Another world that is falling to darkness since she visited this in Birth by Sleep. She sees a coffin thing, the thing that Snow White sleeps in. But instead, of course, she sees Ventus, because Ventus is asleep in Castle Oblivion, so she relates it to or something. She's weirded out, just like she was with Terra, like, okay, apparently, is Ventus not okay? Of course, it's fine. It's just another memory, or more of a illusion, her mind playing tricks on her, because as we zoom out, we see the coffin is empty. There's nobody in it. She turns around though, and she notes there's a mirror just hanging about in midair. She's just a mirror. She gets pulled into the mirror though, because this is basic writing 101. When there's a mirror in your story, you need a mirror dimension. And in this mirror dimension, she fights a reflection, phantom, darkness version of herself.
With, of course, glowy eyes.
I'm really upset because in Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm going to tell you this because this wasn't the trailers for 3, so I feel like this is fair to say. I'm not going to give too much context. There is a dark, corrupted character design for Aqua in Kingdom Hearts 3. They probably should have used that here, instead of just slightly lighter blue eyes and weird lighting on her face. Because, as you beat her, Aqua says that this phantom is unlike the memories of Terra and Ventus she's been running into. They didn't say anything. They were silent. To be fair, Ventus was asleep, so what the fuck do you want?
Yeah.
But this phantom was different. She talked and was mocking Aqua for all of her insecurities. Aqua wonders if this thing represents the weakness in her heart and the beginning of the darkness finding its way through the cracks. So again, Dark Aqua design would make so much more sense here.
Yeah.
Next up, we're going through this at a very high pace. The Enchanted Dominion. The Sleeping Beauty world. Where we also met Maleficent initially. And here, again, she sees Terra and Ventus walking away from her. In a scene that is almost shot for shot the same as a scene in Dream Drop Distance, where Sora is chasing Kairi and Riku down like this path in the world that never was, when they're trying to put him deeper and deeper into sleep, luring him very deep into the darkness. At some point, they even shift into Terra and Ventus in this scene. So this is very clearly supposed to be a parallel between those scenes, showing that just like Sora was doing in Dream Drop, Aqua is chasing these visions deeper and deeper into the darkness. And she even notes that she doesn't care if she's going to lose herself to the darkness. She just wants to catch up and be with her friends again.
Fair enough.
It's quite sad.
And that as well, yes.
She keeps doing that until she finds herself in a field full of the dark sides. Remember this boss fight from Kingdom Hearts 1, the tutorial boss? There's just a bunch of them here.
Shit.
And this is not a cutscene. You actually fight through 5 of them in a row while all the others attack you from the side. And it rains literal hellfire from the sky.
Nice.
This is my favorite part of this game. After you beat them though, she finds Terra and Ven. And they actually talk back to her. Surprised. Well, actually, Terra talks back. Ven is comatose because he's asleep. But Terra's surprised that Aqua can even see him. And She says, yeah, I can see you and Ven too. I'm so glad I found you both. I've been looking for you. But Terra doesn't be able to see Ven. Or Aqua for that matter. He can only hear Aqua. So what we have here is a situation where Aqua can see Terra and Ven.
Mm-hmm.
Terra can hear Aqua, but not see either of them. And Ven's just kind of hanging about.
So he's trying to communicate with her from the other side, or?
Pretty much, yeah. Because Aqua, Terranaut? No, that's... We'll get to that in a moment. Aqua is paranoid that she's absolutely losing her mind, saying that how can she be even sure that this is the real Terra? We've seen phantoms of Terra, she's been in the darkness, how can we be sure that this is actually Terra? And Terra says that, I promise. Yeah, promise. That'll do. And Aqua kind of just accepts that. Terra goes on to explain that I am me, but I'm also not quite myself either. And he explains how his heart is being held captive by Xehanort. And he isn't actually there right now in the realm of darkness. But since his heart now has ties to the darkness, that makes him able to communicate with people in the realm of darkness. Don't think about it, the game doesn't either.
It's, he's got a phone line through Xehanort, and it's fine.
He's so full of darkness all around him that he can communicate with the realm of darkness, I guess.
Sure, we'll go with it.
It doesn't make a lot of sense, but sure. Terra warns her, though, so this is the real Terra still, communicating, that Xehanort is trying to find Ventus, but Aqua tells him not to worry, because Ven is hidden away safely. As she's explaining this, just a little note is coming through in Terra, and he's like, oh yeah, you hit him? Do tell. Where is he? Tell me. Go on, tell me, where's Ventus? Terra, however, tries to fight back against Xehanort's control, keeping her safe, telling Aqua to get the fuck out of there. And there's a whole big explosion while Terra tries to regain control, and that blasts Aqua away into a safe place. Well, as safe as you're going to get in literal hell. Because this is the fight, whatever. Aqua falls deeper and deeper into darkness. So far we've been going through worlds that have fallen to darkness that we've previously visited. Now she's even deeper than that. Now she's just like in pure darkness. There's not like we are in world X, which has fallen to darkness. We're one layer deeper now. And she says that maybe she should just accept fading into the darkness. Even her wayfinder falling out of her hand, representing the connection to her friends weakening and potentially fading away.
Uh-huh.
Until Mickey the what the fuck are you doing here mouse comes in, handing her back her wayfinder and giving her hope.
Does the plot convenient teleporter thingy also work down here?
Nope, because he explains. I don't have a lot of notes for this, so I'm just going to do this off the cuff. He explains that at this point we're like in Kingdom Hearts 1 timeline. So remember in Kingdom Hearts 1 when he left Disney Castle? He left that note for Donald and Goofy, which prompted Donald and Goofy to go out looking for the key. They met Sora, they had the whole adventure. And at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, he showed up with the Keyblade of Darkness. This is Mickey going into the realm of darkness to find that Keyblade so he can show up at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1. Before I move on and explain...
He just happens to come by her?
Well, when he enters the realm of darkness, which I might add, the only way he's able to get here is because he just went to a world that was falling to darkness and kind of rode it into the realm of darkness. But when he got here, he felt a familiar sensation, a familiar light calling out to him. And he went after it, and that was Aqua.
Side note.
Yeah?
I never knew that Mickey's gloves had texture.
They do now.
Yeah.
Because we're in PS4 era, so everything needs texture. Except faces, apparently. Faces and skin don't need texture.
Nah.
Only clothes.
Anywho.
I would like to note, however, that Mickey is wearing a shirt here.
He is.
That's all I'm going to say about that for now. They catch up a little bit. Aqua's like, how long has it been in the realm of light? And Mickey's like, about 10 years, so glad I found you. Let's go find this Keyblade of Darkness so we can close the door. Again, the door from the end of Kingdom Hearts 1. And we can go home both together. When I've got the Keyblade of Darkness, we'll be fine. So they go through the Realm of Darkness looking for that Keyblade. And eventually, they end up on Destiny Islands. Aqua recognized this place as the place where she met the two little boys, Sora and Riku, when they were little children.
Mm-hmm.
Mickey's like, whoa, hold the fuck up. You've met them? They're main characters now. Mickey notes that it's on the Destiny Islands where Sora got his Keyblade initially. So that's also where the dark counterpart to that Keyblade will appear. And they're on the Destiny Islands, in the Realm of Darkness. Don't look at the sky, it looks very bright. I know, they're in the Realm of Darkness, trust me. So they should be able...
Just like here on Earth, behind all the blue light, there's a lot of darkness. So, you know.
True. There should be a Keyblade of Darkness somewhere on the Destiny Islands here. So they go into the cave on Destiny Islands. You remember this weird-ass random wooden door?
Uh-huh.
You know what's behind the door?
Keyblade?
It's the Keyblade of Darkness.
Which looks very like...
Well, it's the inverted color scheme from Sora's Keyblade. Sora's Keyblade is like a silver Keyblade with a golden handle. This is a golden Keyblade with a silver handle, which, is more bright than the other way around.
Uh-huh.
I don't think they really thought that through at all.
Oh, well.
Well, to be fair, they probably wanted to give Mickey the golden Keyblade because it's gold and it's Mickey, before they decided that it was a darkness version of a Keyblade.
Yeah.
They also find the door that Mickey wanted to lock, the one from the end of Kingdom Hearts 1. I keep saying this, but I do need you to remember this door because we're going to get to a scene here in a moment, and I want to jog your memory about the end of Kingdom Hearts 1.
Uh-huh.
But as they all get ready, a demon tower pops up. I meant to go back and add a slide in here, and I only now realize that I forgot to do that. There's this new type of enemy which you fight a couple of times throughout this tech demo, which is just a bunch of the basic Heartless enemy stacked on top of each other and through each other and whatever to make a big-ass tower of Heartless. That's a reoccurring enemy through this game, and in this fight, it changes from just being a demon tower to being a demon tide. So it's like a wave of those Heartless now. The reason that I explain this is because this comes back as an enemy in Kingdom Hearts 3, so I do need to point it out.
All right.
So in this moment, on the other side of that door, Sora is having his final boss of Kingdom Hearts 1 fight with Ansem. At the same time, Riku is running towards the door to help close it, like we see at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1. But this demon tide is trying to attack it. So Aqua jumps in front, protecting Riku, just outside of sight of the camera of Kingdom Hearts 1. I hate that so much. And tries to hold off the demon tide. But it breaks free of Aqua's control and makes a fucking beeline for Mickey Mouse. And it attacks him. It attacks him pretty good because he gets knocked back and his shirt disintegrates to preserve continuity with the end of Kingdom Hearts 1 where he was shirtless.
God damn it.
Remember when I said you should remember shirtless Mickey Mouse at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1 like a year ago?
Yeah.
This is why. There's no law reason. I just wanted you to remember this.
They could have just introduced him already shirtless.
Yeah.
Why?
They chose to give him a shirt for this entire game just because that's what his character design looks like now. But they needed a reason for him to match his character design from the first game. So
also, since when do the Heartless
disintegrate
thingies
gloats
do anything?
There is a semi-acceptable reason which I don't like, and that is specifically we know that the cloaks that the organization wears are like darkness repellent robes, right?
Yeah.
The clothes that they get at the end of this game also are specifically stated to be darkness repellent, just a little less than those cloaks, presumably. So it can be assumed that the shirt that Mickey is wearing here has similar properties, protecting him from the darkness. And as he gets attacked, instead of losing his heart, the shirt takes the attack instead. I don't like that explanation because it's still stupid. but it's just so fucking funny that they needed to have a reason to get that shirt off that mouse. That's that.
Also for making sure that this whole thing is family friendly and all. It's a good thing that all those heartless attacked Mickey and not Aqua.
Oh yeah, Mickey straight up just doesn't have nipples, because we see a shot after this where he clearly doesn't have the shirt anymore. He's just pure black. I would expect him to like have two flash-colored circles. No, that's too risque. It's funny that you say that though, because I'm going to see if I have a shot of Aqua's back here. Mm-hmm. In the original Birth by Sleep, the back of her dress went down in a V shape all the way to the the small of her back, her lower back. The international release made this her design, and going forward, apparently Japan was like, okay, fine, we won't.
Having her back exposed was too risque,
I guess. Like,
what the hell?
I don't know. It's like we can still see like her bare shoulders and stuff, but lower back we can't be having any of that.
Also,
she's literally pretty much just wearing underwear for her shorts. Like, let's go through you. I surely have a shot here somewhere. Like, that's a lot more provocative than lower back. Especially when you see it in motion. It's like, there's a lot of artists that are very happy about that, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. And shirtless Mickey Mouse. Probably, like, a lot of Rule 34 of... there probably is, actually. I don't want to think about that.
If you can think of it, it's there.
Oh, yeah. All that said, though, shirtless Mickey Mouse, that's fine. There's one other thing that I brought up in Kingdom Hearts 1, which I told you to remember, which was that weird machine. If you have any vague memories of that. The
machine that collected the pure hearts?
No, there was a machine somewhere where I said, you're going to need to remember this for like 15 games from now. There's two things that I put up in Kingdom Hearts 1 that you're going to need to remember long term. Shirtless Mickey and that machine. We have now gotten to the shirtless Mickey thing. It wasn't actually a little relevant. Just wanted to fuck with you. That machine is actually relevant. So even if you don't remember it right now, I'm just like putting it up in the air again, because in a couple of games time, we're going to get to it.
All right.
Meanwhile, while Mickey is flashing Sora and Riku, Aqua's getting dragged back to the Destiny Islands. Luckily, again, her shirt is fine. Where she has to fight the Demon Tide now all on her own while the end of Kingdom Hearts happens off screen. And here she resigns herself to being lost in the realm of darkness. She notes that, okay, I was going to return with Mickey, but Mickey's being weird and naked. I don't like that. And
I'd rather be here in the realm of darkness than
with Mickey's
shirtless mouse.
Yeah, which is fair enough.
Which is fair. Yeah.
She resigns herself to being stuck in the realm of darkness for at least a little longer, maybe indefinitely, and says that if anybody else falls into the dark realm, at least she will be there to guide them. And then she fights the Demon Tide, presumably forever. Mm-hmm. At the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, all of the worlds that fell to darkness return to the realm of light. And so does Destiny Islands, because in Kingdom Hearts 2, Destiny Islands is back, and it fell to darkness. We're in the realm of darkness on Destiny Islands right now. So you might think, hey, doesn't that mean that Aqua comes back to the realm of light with Destiny Islands?
That would make sense.
It would.
So I guess not.
They make a specific point of it to show that all the worlds are returning to the realm of light, and Destiny Islands disintegrates from under Aqua while she falls back into the darkness. Apparently she wasn't part of the set or something. They specifically make a cutscene so people understand, no, she's still in the darkness.
So Mickey rode in on the world falling to darkness.
But she can't ride out.
But she can't ride back out.
Yep. It's infuriating, isn't it?
Yes.
With all that, though, Mickey is done telling his story, and Riku is like, she sacrificed herself to save me? Why the fuck didn't you tell me any of this before? To which Jensip explains, it's pretty obvious. If we had told you, you would have tried to save her. Yeah, with good reason. Mm-hmm. Especially since, it's difficult getting into the realm of darkness, right? And that's what Jensip says. It's difficult and dangerous to get into the realm of darkness. Except that between Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2, there's a whole ass year where Sora is asleep, and Riku has the powers to make dark portals.
Yeah.
He could have literally just gone in, grabbed Aqua, gone back out.
That's kind of fucked up.
Yensid is a dick.
Yeah.
And so is Mickey. Mickey left...
I mean, Mickey, we knew.
Mickey we knew, but this is even worse. He left her in the realm of darkness, at least since Kingdom Hearts 1, knowing that she was there, and at no point going back for her.
Yeah, he's a dick.
Knowing he has a friend with the power to go there. It's the actual worst. This is what retcons do to your story.
Yeah.
Kairi, who is also here, is like, hey, I want to be a character. Can I have a Keyblade training now, please?
No.
And Yensid says that for that she needs to go to Merlin, because Merlin is overseeing the training of the new Keyblade wielders. For reasons I don't know. Merlin doesn't have a Keyblade that I know of.
It's fine.
Kairi's like, Keyblade wielders? That sounds like plural. Who's the other one? And it's revealed to be Lee. And Kairi's like, I don't know any Lee. And Mickey chimes in saying, he means Axel. And Kairi's kind of not happy about that, because she literally says, what? He kidnapped me.
Fair point.
And Mickey's like, no. He's a person now. He's a good guy. He helped save Sora. He's cool. You're going to go into a time cube with him, just into a different dimension where time runs differently, just with him, and everything is going to be okay. And Kairi just goes with it.
Okay.
But that's also the reason, by the way, why in Kingdom Hearts 3, Lee and Kairi are kind of up to speed with the rest of our characters, because they just went into the hyperbolic time chamber. They just had like a year, potentially years worth of training off screen in a couple of days.
Convenient.
Which begs the question, which we'll get to.
Why the hell didn't anyone else do that?
Yeah, in the past and going forward. Because as we're about to get to, everybody leaves to go on the mission. Riku and Mickey are finally going to get Aqua from the Realm of Darkness. Kairi is going to train, and the credits roll. But we have a post-credit scene. Because we need to be able to see Sora done like Goofy in the new engine. Come on. And these actually look halfway decent.
Yeah.
It's clear where all the priority went for like character design. This game wasn't made to be a game. This game was made on all the work that pre-existed for Kingdom Hearts 3. And these are clearly some of the first models that were finished. So these are the 3 main characters in the new engine. And we get to learn that Sora, after almost getting Norded in the last game, didn't only fail to get the power of waking, all of his other powers were also lost. Because we need a reason in Kingdom Hearts 3 to be level 1 again.
Right. We need the tutorial again and shit.
Exactly. So Yensid says to go to a world where he has met somebody who has also lost all of their power and regained it. And I think I skipped over this, and maybe I didn't. In Kingdom Hearts 2, we have the whole story of Hercules, like, losing all of his power and then diving into, like, the hellfire to save Meg, getting all of his power back. Confirming for us that Sora is doing, like, Hercules poses. That the tutorial world for Kingdom Hearts 3 will be Olympus. Now.
I mean, why the hell does Sora need any help with that? He has been through this like 6 times by now. Well, 2 times by now.
More importantly, why doesn't he just go into the fucking time chamber with Kairi and Lee?
Yes. I mean, even if you wanna have a whole leveling up thing in Kingdom Hearts 3, you can just have your level 1 be a higher base level than in the previous game. You don't need to take away his power each and every fucking time.
Well, and that's like a major issue, because of course you don't have all of your combat abilities that you have at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, and in Dream Drop and stuff like that. But in a lot of the earlier Kingdom Hearts game, like Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2, the ability to dodge roll was an unlockable ability that you get at like level 5 or level 10 or something. Pretty early on, but it's an unlockable ability. Mm-hmm. The ability to like air dash for movability was a unlockable ability that was mid to end game. All of those things, because there's so many new things and new abilities to play with in Kingdom Hearts 3, are just your base movement set from the first world right away in 3. So while that is fantastic, because that is definitely needed, like you need to be able to dodge properly, because there's a lot of enemies and there's like you need that. And that's fantastic, because that means that Kingdom Hearts 3 from the get-go feels fantastic to play. Like Kingdom Hearts 2, the movement in the endgame is some of the smoothest movement I've ever seen in action RPG game. But it takes you like 20 hours to get there. Kingdom Hearts 2, like base, without all those upgraded abilities, is kind of clunky. 3 is smooth from the get-go and gets only better. So, from a gameplay perspective, you kind of pick up where you left off, at least from movement perspective. But they still need a reason for you to be level 1 from a lore perspective, which is, like, usually I am annoyed by that, but I also kind of think it's cute. In this case, it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
But that...
And you could even just, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but in the Ratchet and Clank series on PlayStation 2 mainly,
Yeah.
if you played the first game and you launch the second game for the first time, it sees you have a save file for the first game, looks at the save file and extracts like you had these weapons and this ability and all that, and gives at least part of that back to you.
That would make a lot more sense. I was going to say that wouldn't work because they were, like, the last game you played was a 3DS game, but there was literally an HD remake on the PS4. So, yeah, no, that would have worked. Like, all the games are accessible on PS4. This game was initially released on PS4.
That also gives you initiative to actually play the previous game.
Well, if you don't play the previous games and you go into 3 right away, even if you've played Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, and not all the other games...
it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Yeah, I think the amount of what the fuck is happening, why is Donald Duck in this anime game, is initiative enough to play through the rest of the series to understand.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
But yeah, no, I don't like that at all. But that's what happens. And Kingdom Hearts 3 starts off in Olympus, and we're going to get to that next time. And that's going to be the beginning of the end. At least for phase 1. Then we're moving on to phase 2, and we're getting more of this Master of Masters bullshit.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Frankly, he is my favorite character in the series. I didn't do him...
Up till now, I think for me to just actually someone who's having a bit of a shit about this whole thing.
I don't do him justice. I'll tell you that much. I'll send you a cutscene of him just to see after this, because he is... I'm not an actor, clearly. When I say he is Kingdom Hearts Deadpool, I mean he is Kingdom Hearts Deadpool. Like, his mannerisms, everything, he is Deadpool. To the point where the first time I looked at him, like, aside from the voice acting obviously giving it away, it's like, could that be Ryan Reynolds? Could they have gone that far? It's not, obviously, and when you listen to him for more than a second, that's very obvious, but...
I am thinking now.
Oh, God.
With the... Fox acquisition by Disney.
If he pulls back his hood and it's just Deadpool, I'm gonna lose my shit.
That would be awesome.
It's not gonna happen.
Or just the interaction between those two would be funny as all hell.
That I do see as a possibility. I definitely see it as a possibility because there is a reason which...
I mean, they're gonna put Marvel in this shit, right?
Yeah. But... there is a potential lore reason as to why we haven't had any of that. We've had Pirates for a live action series, but aside from that, everything has been animated. And it seems like, but I need to explain more later game knowledge for this to fully make sense. I'm going to keep it a bit vague. It seems like Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to take place in much more live action Disney properties. So... there's good reason to assume from one of the trailers that Star Wars is going to be in there.
I mean, at this point, it would just be dumb not to do that.
Definitely. I am pretty convinced that there's going to be an Avengers. Probably Avengers. I think it would just be like New York, right? Avengers 1. But there's probably going to be something Marvel related, whether it be one Avengers world or like 2 or 3 separate worlds. Remains to be seen. So Deadpool definitely could show up in that way. And if he does, I really hope that he does interact with the Master, because that would be hysterical. I would love that. There might also be less Disney in Kingdom Hearts 4 in general. more Final Fantasy is one of the theories, which, again, at the end of 3, we'll get into. For now, I will leave you with one last thing about the Master, because I fucking love this guy. We haven't seen his face up until this point in the series. Again, I alluded to that before. That has been a character wearing that cloak, which has not been revealed yet, like 5 games after his initial introduction. That's the Master.
Mm-hmm.
This was released in 2017, so it's been like 6 years. We still haven't seen him. There's been 6 years of people speculating who the fuck could be under that mask. Because at this point, it has to be related to a character we know. Because if it's after 6 years, it's just, I'm a new person, that's kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah.
A lot of people want it to just be his own unique character with no pre-existing relations. I don't think that makes any narrative sense anymore at this point.
It would just be fun to just have him pulling his hood off and it just being a 3D render of I forgot his name, but the writer for all this.
That is something that I've not seen anywhere offered seriously, but that is a joke theory that I have seen so far, is that it is a stand-in character for Tetsuya Nomura. Because he is all-knowing. He knows everything that's going to happen on the timeline.
Right.
There's a couple of other fun theories as well. I'm not going to tell you what the theories are at the moment. Again,
I guess we'll get to that.
At the end of 3, we'll have all the information that we need to speculate on that. For now, I think we're going to leave it there. Unless you have questions or comments, in which case, shoot.
Not really. Must actually a pretty concise story this time.
It's just building up to the clusterfuck that's 3.
Oh yeah, I'm fully prepared to just be bewildered again. But this was actually a pretty concise story, which made it was just much smaller scale, just 6 characters interacting with one another with some side characters.
With just a lot of like
sort of
potentially like
sort of a
nuclear threat looming above their heads, but aside from that, it was pretty small.
It's sort of a nuclear murder case thingy.
Yeah.
Which pretty fun.
I'll say the mobile game is more of that.
All right.
So it's fun.
The whole Aqua thing is it's a bit awkward and a bit retconny, which always sucks, but
it's yeah.
In the whole scheme of things, it's fine.
It's definitely, it's supposed to be a gameplay experience showing you that this is what Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to feel like playing. And there's definitely still some changes between that tech demo and the way Kingdom Hearts 3 actually feels and works, but it's pretty close. And they needed a story, and they also just happened to like need Aqua to be in people's minds, because we've seen Ventus in the previous game smiling in the post-credit scene. We've seen Terra, because he's like part of Xehanort as Xemnas and stuff. So we needed people to be reminded of Aqua's just existence and where she is.
Right.
So that's why they slapped Aqua's story on there, and people just also wanted to see what Aqua was like in the Realm of Darkness. And there's a lot of like character moments in there which I personally skipped over because they're not like lore relevant necessarily, and while I usually try to implement like character things in the game, that's broken up by you play like 20 or 30 minutes of gameplay and then you see Aqua being sad. But if you cut out all that gameplay, I would just be sitting here saying Aqua sad in this way and then Aqua sad in that way. That doesn't lend itself for an interesting story in this format, I don't think. So
yeah, not really.
That is also part of it. But next time, I will warn everybody watching this, and you as well, actually. We're going to do Kingdom Hearts 3 in 2 parts.
Oh yeah, I figured that part.
And I have already decided, I haven't written it yet, but I've already decided where we're going to cut it, and you're going to think I'm crazy for this. We're going to do the first 90% of the game in part 1, and then the last world of the game is going to be part 2.
Yeah, I mean...
So it's Disney shit, part 1, Kingdom Hearts shit, part 2.
I thought so, yeah. It's just the first 90% is just, you know, fun gameplay, but lore irrelevant, and then the climax.
It's the cutting compilation for it is about 10 hours long, And the first 7 or 8 hours of that is Disney World, where there's like probably in total 1 hour of relevant shit where like organization members show up and do something, which I'm going to mention. Aside from that, it's largely the plots of the Disney worlds themselves, except for 2 worlds, which are unique stories. Those we will talk about a little bit more. And then the last world of the game is about twice the length of a normal world, and just constantly filled. That's like 2.5, 3 hours of cutscenes. The last 7 hours of gameplay. That's filled with just very dense, constant lore reveal, emotional climaxes for like this whole 15-year story arc. So yeah, it's going to be about 90% all the Disney shit, and the last 10% I'm going to split off into its own video. Also because I don't feel like writing all that in one script, because I have a life. So next time, a lot of Disney shit, because we hadn't had any Disney shit this time. See you then.
And this time we didn't have. There's no new Soros. There's no new.
Well, do we know that?
No, fuck me.
No, you're right.
All right.
Well, technically there's a new Aqua, because there's Phantom, Anti-Aqua, Mirror Realm Aqua.
Mirror Aqua. Yeah. Yep.
But talking about that, I'm actually going to also, after 3, probably stop doing those counts, because they are getting a little redundant, and we're at a point where characters aren't getting new versions, at least for the time being.
Thank fuck.
But there is a semi-new Sora in Kingdom Hearts 3.
All right.
Bye!